Welcome back guys to another video on the channel, and today we'll be looking at how to make a brick and paddle game on Scratch. The purpose of this game is to break all the bricks with the ball. We could say that this game is like the pong game, except we have to break the bricks. There are also stars which we have to break. The stars cost 25 points and the bricks cost 10 points. Even if you haven't broken all of the stars, but you have broken all of the bricks, then you will win the game. Else, if the ball reaches the ground, then you will lose the game. Before we move on, we have a quick note on our studio. We request everyone to join our studio, and if you want, you could even comment on the comments tab. Here is how a studio looks like. I've already added many projects, and you guys could check them out if you want and remix them if you want as well. So let's begin with a quick demo. Boing, 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 boing. So as you can see, when I moved my mouse towards the left, the paddle moves towards the left. If I move my mouse towards the right, the paddle moves towards the right. And every time you hit the star, the score increases by 25, and every time you hit the brick, the score increases by 10. And also every time you hit the brick, the number of bricks variable decreases by 1. So let's begin creating the project. Today we'll be working only on the brick. So we'll first begin by renaming the project to Paddle and Brick Game. Now I'm going to delete the cat sprite and go and hover on to the sprite and to the sprite. I'm going to choose the sprite basketball. You guys could choose any ball of your choice. And next I'm going to paint a sprite. I'm going to first zoom in thrice and use the rectangle tool to draw a rectangle. I'm now going to adjust my rectangle. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to change the color. I'm going to change the full color to red. Yeah, okay, that's good. Select it. Okay, great. And I'm going to choose the outline to 3. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to choose another sprite, and this sprite is going to be my paddle. And now I'm going to choose the backdrop, and my backdrop is going to be a blue sky. Now let's begin coding our project. First, we'll begin by coding our brick. So we're going to get a when flag clicked, and we want to set the size to 75. And then we want to hide the brick. And then we want to create a clone 10 times. So repeat 10 and create clone of myself. So what this will do is it'll duplicate the brick 10 times. Next, what we want to do is we want to drag a when I start as a clone. We want the brick to show. And then we want to go to X and Y. So we're going to have to measure. I'm just going to click on, okay. Show it. Okay, so I'm just going to measure which is the X and Y position. You guys could do it by yourself too, or you could just do the same X and Y position as me. So yeah, negative 200 to positive 200 would be good. So 200 to 200. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to make the range from pick random 35 to 150. That for Y. Next, what I want to do is I'm going to get a forever loop and get an if-then condition. And I'm going to get in touching mouse pointer and change it to basketball. So if you guys don't know what the if-then condition is, so if the block of code you put between if and then executes, then whatever you put in the loop will also execute. So suppose if touching basketball, we want to change the score by 10, and we also want to hide the brick. So what we're going to do first is create a new variable called score and make it for all sprites. And then we want to change score by 10. Make sure you change my variable to score, otherwise the score will not change by 10. Next, what we want to do is we want to drag a hide, put that right above this change score by 10. And we also want to broadcast a new message called bounce. And we want to start a sound called pop. Next, we are going to delete the clone. Otherwise, all the clones are going to be jammed up at that particular spot. Okay, now let's begin by coding the paddle. So for the paddle, it's a very easy code. So one flat click, we want to set y to around, negative 138. So set y to negative 138. And we want to get a forever loop. And then we want to set mouse x. So set x to mouse x. So what will happen if with this piece of code? So set x to mouse x will make sure that when we move our mouse towards the right, the paddle moves towards the right, and if we move our mouse towards the left, the paddle is going to move towards the left. And now we're going to get an if-then statement, and if it's touching the basketball, we want to broadcast bounce. So we're basically going to code what bounce is in the basketball spray. So we want to broadcast the message bounce. And we also want to start sounds boing. So now let's go to basketball and start coding the basketball. So when flat clicked, we want to set our score variable to 0. And then we want to set the size to 50%. And we want to get a point in direction block. So we want it to point in direction 0, which will make sure that the ball is pointing towards the top, because we first wanted to bounce towards the top. So point in direction 0, and we want it to go to x and y. We want it to go to the center, so the center is going to be x0 and y0. And then we want to get a repeat 10 times, and we want it to move 10 steps. And we have to change 10 to 5. So repeat 10 times, move 5 steps. Now we're going to get, a repeat until block. And we want this to repeat until the score is equal to 100. Now we're going to get an if on edge bounce. And we want to move 10 steps. Let's get an if-then condition now. So if the y position is less than, so we'll go to motion and get a y position. So if the y position is less than, let's see, I'm just gonna check. Yeah, negative 160. So if the y position is less than negative 160, then we want to broadcast game over. So like I said, if the ball comes through this, it goes below the paddle in this position, then we want to broadcast game over. So broadcast a new message called game over. Else we wanted to broadcast a new message called you win. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do that again. So broadcast message you win. And make sure that you win is not in the if-then loop or not in the repeat until loop. So now what we're going to do is, now let's code when I receive bounce. So when I receive bounce, we want to get an if-then condition. So we're going to get an equal to sign. So if 1 is equal to pick random from 1 to 2, so if 1 is equal to pick random from 1 to 2, then we want it to turn clockwise, pick random. So wanted to turn clockwise, pick random from 150 to 210. So put that there. Now we're going to get an anti-clockwise one. Oh, okay. So get an if then else condition, not an if then condition. And make sure that you put the clockwise one within the then loop, and get the anti-clockwise and put that in the else loop. So again, same thing, pick random 150 to 210. And then we're going to get a move 10 steps and change 10 to 30 steps. So that is going to be bounce. Now let's code it on what to do when I receive game over and you win. So when I receive game over, we want it to stop all the other scripts in Sprite. Basically, we want to stop this script and that script as well. And then we want to say game over, try again. And now let's play another sound called play sound until done. I'm going to choose sound, so go to the sound library and choose the sound. How about Alien? Yeah, Alien Creek 2. So play sound Alien Creek 2 until done. And then we want to stop all. Now, what we want to do now is duplicate that. And when I receive you in, change you say to you, change you game over to you win. So that's for the say you win for 2 seconds. And then remove play sound Alien Creek until done. Yeah, that's all. Okay, now what we have to do is we want to go to the brick and paddle. So when I receive game over, we want to stop other scripts in Sprite. I'm going to do the same for the paddle as well. Okay, let's check our game out. Boing, boing, boing. So one thing that I noticed, one thing I have noticed is that the ball is too small. So I'm going to change the size to 75%. Now let's check it out. Boing, 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 boing. So it's working very well. When the ball touched the ground, the game over, the sprite said game over, try again. But we actually didn't finish reaching the score 100, so the sprite didn't say you win. So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. You guys can modify the size or maybe change the score, whatever you like. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, and until then, scratch on.